think I'll just answer that live on stream. Got a question in chat. What's the deal today? Well, since I'm still in lockdown, week 8, fast approaching with no end in sight, it's going to be another boozy Friday night stream. And what we have on the test bench is this. So, one of my very, very, very favorite platforms, FM2. No plus, no minus. And it's on a gigabyte board, and I don't get to run gigabyte board often enough, I think. So with the modern Intel, I mean, there's the Tachyon, right? I've got the Tachyon. I'm lucky enough to have the Tachyon. But with older stuff, I've got the 890FX for AM3, but otherwise it's all Asus really. I'm sort of trying to think. I mean, I used to have a crossblade. I have a lot of boards actually for this platform. Where's my little comparison here? So they made a lot of boards that are good for this platform. I used to own a crossblade. It died. It totally died. It lost the channel first, and then I was really pushing it a lot. I was using it for validations, but there were basically two UP boards. So there was, maybe as an introduction, there was two chipsets, the A85X chipset and the A88X chipset. Not many differences at all, if any. It's basically just a chipset refresh, but A88 came with out-of-the-box support for Richland, which is the subject of today's stream, which I titled Richland Bitchland because probably going to be bitching about lockdown. It's not about the platform, guys. The platform is great. So yeah, there was the UP boards, which are pretty high-powered boards, but there was also Wi-Fi. And actually, the A88X Wi-Fi board is probably the best board for a 32M, but I thought I wouldn't use it today just because it doesn't have a debug LED. And something else that I discovered, that's why I'm powering on live on the stream. Watch for this splash screen. Watch, just watch for it. As of course power is cut. Just appreciate this splash screen. Hopefully this doesn't break Twitch terms of service. Ah, damn it. Okay, I'm restarting. Is there some way of making the boot slower? I've got my post display. There we go. Windows 10 64-bit and a very scantily clad lady. That's what I like about older boards. They were it was a much less politically correct time, I would say. Yeah, so I own all these boards. I mean, I have experience with the crossblade. I own both of the ASRock Extremes. I don't own the older Wi-Fi, but pretty much the newer Wi-Fi is better. But it's just maybe I should just show. I should have actually dug it out from my basement and just shown it, but yeah, this brings across the whole issue pretty well. So it's an amazing board. It's an amazing RAM overclocking board, for damn sure. But you can see how it gets a little bit tricky. So you've got a decent VRM, but on LN2 it can get a little bit stressed sometimes, especially multicore. And then you've got other issues like you've got obviously you don't have any power buttons on the board. You don't have any debug let out. You don't have whatever it's called, a 7-segment display, but you also don't even have the little LEDs, which I like on the newer ITX boards. Then you've got a little bit of a spacing issue here between the VRM and the socket and the RAM and the RAM and the PCI slot, but an amazing board. But the board that I've got on the bench today is the UP4, which is basically the full 80, I don't want to say it's the full 80x version of this board because it's very, very different, but it's got that classic old Gigabyte red scheme. Come on, Firefox. Even Crossfire support. Yeah, so that's what I'm clocking today. And I've got a couple of chips, so maybe I should just show this. This is the chip. I've done 7.9 gigahertz on this chip on cold, but I think it was pre-delid. Oh damn it, I actually put some paste under there. So I've delided it, and you can see from the shininess that it's got some nail polish on there. So it's a nice job. So that chip was good, but not good enough. Let me show you the current results that I have. 6800K, not to be confused with the X99 6800K. Hi Ginger, hi Dark Gregor. It's Wizardy, I think, who has the 32M. I was about to say maybe our friend in chat has the 32M, but I think it's Wizardy. Yeah, Wizardy. So so the 1M I think was pretty much all out. So yeah, this number 2 was able to do 6.1 1M. Hi Howard Barbecue. So this was damn it, it didn't I don't know what Vcore I used here. Is it in the comments? Oh, I used the older board. Anyway, pretty long session here. So this is actually the older board. So they changed the boards changed, but the chipset itself sort of didn't really change much. I've got some PSC in there today, actually some pies. So this chip I don't think was good enough. It just about did 7.6. I mean, that's still a good chip. 7.6 through 1M, that's, you know, very respectable. That's definitely above average. My first chip I killed doing frequency validations. Let's also just quickly sort of look at that. So the other thing that's in play besides the 32M record is I want to get 8 gigahertz on FM2, which I don't have yet. And what chip was this? This is number 2. Yeah, that's right. So I originally got a 7840 on stream, so that was live stream 32. And that I ran direct die, and I don't think I'll make that mistake again. And that was on the crossplate, as you can see. So I ran a direct die. It was a really, I mean, if I'm ever going to kill something on stream, then it's going to be I'll be happy with a you know, just killing like a $50 chip, trying to get to 8G. I think that's like a respectable way to kill something, is to do it streaming, having a fun time on stream. How much Vcore did I think I gave it like 1.9 Vcore. You can play back the old stream. It will be in the list. Is it streams? I think stream list. Yeah, okay, stream list. So in case you're unaware, damn it, Firefox. Here we go. This is the, so here there's links to all the YouTubes. Go away, search bar. All the YouTubes of all of the streams. And here it is, the FM2 direct die 8 gigahertz attempt. But subsequently, I did a ton of runs on the other chip, and that gave me another 50 megahertz. But I don't think it can do 8G. I don't know. It's a little bit tricky on this platform because you're also limited I think the top multiplier is 63. It doesn't say here. We'd know from looking at Jerv's result because she'll have maxed the multi for sure. Yeah, so 63 is a max multi. So and then you have sort of considerations as to what BCLK will be the max you can do. But for whatever reason, this chip liked lower multi. But so yeah, it's sort of there's a lot going on there. So as we were talking about for 32M, it's only a 31 pointer, but it's a platform record and stuff. But Wizardy is at 76.36. So I haven't got a 32M at all yet on this chip. Yeah, and a recurring theme will be that there's a 2400. I'll just show it to you in the BIOS itself. There's a 2400 memory strap, but I'm not really sure whether every chip will do it. I think 2133 with a bit of BCLK applied is a bit more is a bit more reliable. So you're talking like lower end PSC and lower end SAMI. Where's our LLC? Our Vcore low clock challenge. So Richland is what we're talking about, and it's New Life, and he's running SAMIs, so 799. But that is, I think it might even be cold SAMIs, and it's cold chip as well. It's the chip on minus 80, I think. Yeah. So actually, I should put LN2 behind that. So come on. So these I sort of wonder what's going on with this third result, even though it's not that efficient. I don't know, maybe that's just really good hypers, who knows. So yeah, pushing North Bridge obviously helps, and yeah, everyone's sort of moving around, and even the previous generation, very few that are like at that 2600 mark. So yeah, what can realistically be our target? I suppose 14 minutes 30. So Ginger, I've got a Shiraz here. I haven't updated my bot, but afterwards I'm going to have a local beer, literally. So anyway, yeah. So it's been a while since I've clocked this. I'm trying to sort of think what I've done besides validations on this platform. I should really look at my 1M as well, not just my validation. I need to look at my 1M, not PyFast. Where's my 1M? So what did I run there? 2145 710 7. Okay. All right. So I also have a third chip. So like I was saying, so I have a new chip in the system, which I'll check for valids and stuff, an IMC, and then maybe I'll swap into a third chip later. This is one of my big goals. Basically 32M platform record and 8G. So yeah, there's 3 platforms you can get 8G on, and only Ratty has all 3. And the most common is AM3 plus. Second most common is FM2. I have AM3. Should really be adding myself here as a motivational sort of thing. What's my best result these days? I think it's like a 8.15 or so. Let's go into, how's everyone doing, by the way? Ginger, are you? I think you're out of lockdown down there in South Australia, right? Any restrictions remaining, like masks in supermarkets and stuff? Yeah, 8.18 or so. So I've got a big mountain to climb. I'm basically not even doing that well on my AM3 sub, AM3 Plus sub. But it is rare. FM2 for some reason is rare. Let's also quickly take a look at that. How's that European summer going, guys? Is it hot yet? It's August. It should be the hottest part of the summer, right? CPU frequency, and we need to go over 8,000. So we've obviously got Sherv at Nick Shee. Yeah. Good old Nick Shee. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. 11 total on this platform. Contrast this with, I think it's like 150 at least. So here's a full page of AM3 Plus subs. Yeah, about 120 or 30. Now I'm curious to see what the LGA 775 is. Less than a page, I would imagine. Yeah, less than a page. So actually 775 is not as rare. That's just because it's a more popular platform, and it also came first. Billzoid, yeah, what's his I think I've edged him out in terms of raw frequency. Builds, oh, 8.3. Holy shit balls. Yeah, that's not that easy to get. On what board? Is that like modded and stuff? 990FX Gaming. Leakiest. Alright. Now, let's go to this board. So, latest BIOS. Got some G-Skill Pis in. This is where things get a bit dicey because, well, what I really want is to go for max frequency. So 101 was fine. That posted. Let's go 102. So you can see the postcode display here. It's a bit strange on this board because it just, that lovely post screen again. Hopefully I don't get banned from Twitch. It just likes to hang on 15. And I don't have a working easy tune, so BCLK support in OS would be nice. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? You just, that is such a like 2010 thing. It doesn't. Hi Mickey, yeah, never seen you on stream before, but welcome. You just wouldn't see anyone implement that anymore. People are too safe. That beautiful CPU Z hang. Hopefully not an indication of how Mike Yellow. Also don't remember that, but still welcome. Thanks for joining. Let us all hang out together. So I've put in pretty lax timings. 812.8. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to avoid having a stick limit. I want to first get the IMC limit of the DDR frequency. In the past, so there's a few aspects to this. Oh, brother, nice. Bit of a family hangout going on here. So really important to get the Encore up. Encore is probably a little bit similar to AM3 Plus, so I would not expect to get very high over 3000 on ambient. And I also like to point out that in previous releases of CPU-Z, the Encore would not get detected, which is a bit of a pain in the ass because some of these older boards actually don't calculate the real Encore for you in BIOS, so you have to sort of get your calculator out to see what it's setting because you can't confirm with CPU-Z. And the other thing is, and I never really knew where this came from, but command rate doesn't get displayed, so we have to sort of rely on that being said correctly. Okay, this wine is a day old. I think it's over oxidized, as they like to say. Cheers! Time for a local beer, Pacific Paradise, 4.2. That sound of that can opening. As we're waiting, Spag Bog. Oh, bolognese. Oh, well, bon appetit, Ginger. It's the only thing with this OS is a little bit, yeah, unresponsive. Oh, use the wine. All right. Gotta love that splash screen. I'm actually sort of glad I don't have Easy Tune because that gives me an excuse to keep rebooting the system and keep seeing that splash screen. Okay, let's save our profile. Let's just keep iterating. So see that hang on 15, that could actually mean whatever. Let's go into Windows. Yeah, let's go into Windows, do a 1M run. Z390 gene. Okay, so story time. So Z390 was that weird sort of half generation where they released the 8700K, which was like a 7700K with two cores bolted on, but they still considered it to be a new architecture. So they went from Kaby Lake to Coffee Lake, and they released a new chipset. So they went from, is that 390? Sorry, that was 9900K. Yeah, Z390. That was Z370. Sorry. So the same sort of story. They went from Coffee Lake to Coffee Lake S or something. What do they call it again? What the hell is? Let me look this up. What is a 9900K technically called? Coffee Lake. But it detects differently. Coffee Lake refresh. Coffee Lake, yeah, okay. So it's weird how they bolted two cores onto a 7700K and call it a new architecture, but then they bolted two cores onto an 8700K and they call it a refresh. All right, so Coffee Lake refresh was going from the 8700K to the 9900K, and it was going from the Z370 platform to the Z390 platform. And it was going, in ASUS terms, it was going from the 10 series to the 11 series. And the way it happened with the boards was there was an Apex 10, but the Apex 11 was delayed. So they actually, to break all the records and all that crap, they actually gave all the extreme overclockers the gene. So that for some reason the gene came out first. So I'm sure there must have been a gene for the 10 and the 9, but nobody cared because it came out after the Apex, and the Apex was the better board. And it turns out that the Apex 11 sort of turned out to be the better board than the gene as well. The gene was a bit finicky. But yes, I did actually own a gene for a little bit, and I borrowed someone else's gene for a while, and it's a good board. I don't know what exactly you want to know about it. It's just a little bit finicky compared to Apex's. It's got that weird like DTX type sort of form factor and stuff. So now we're at 2400 C8. The first thing I'm going to attempt actually is, let's see if we can go 5G. Let's see if we can load our profile. Nice, we can. Let's see if we can go 5G on, I mean, it doesn't matter which cores really. So that's 44x. Well, okay. No, we need more volts. But yeah, not sure how useful this debug let is going to be. I just don't know why this system does this, where a boot failure looks pretty much the same as a successful boot, successful post. I love this old style Gigabyte BIOS though. It's pretty neat. DJR. Yeah, I mean, it's a good daily board for sure. Can anyone catch? Someone should clip this, by the way. Mary Jane. Who the hell is Mary Jane? Oh, Mary Jane as in hash, as in smoking Mary Jane. Is that what they mean by that? I'm so pumped with this platform. It's just one of those benching platforms that just gives and gives and gives. You know, I can't say a single thing negative about FM2 really. It's so robust. It goes, hi, morning. Call me Tim the Enchanter. It's so freaking robust. Like, yeah, I killed a chip, but it was probably because I cracked the paste or whatever. You can go to 2.2 volts. I've gone to 2.2 Vcore, and you know, this chip right here, 2.2 Vcore, 7.9 gigahertz. It's still alive. I tested it earlier. Okay, so yeah, let's just do a run. So just to illustrate, here's a 1M run. Shmomo, you didn't miss so much. We're just running FM2 right now. This is an A88X UP4, one of the best boards for that platform. I have a 6800K in there, which is the top unlocked chip on the platform, and the aim would be, first of all, maybe to bin through a couple of different chips, because I have a second chip here, but also just to work on SuperPi 32M. Ooh, is this crashed? Ah, okay. Interesting. So maybe that was a bit too much. I can still give the sticks a little bit more just in case. Yeah, so 32M, I still don't have a run on this chip, and I wanted the platform record, but it's tough because it needs to be 7.6 gigahertz or so. I've done an 8G run 32M on AM3 Plus, but my chips there are better. The second aim would be 8G, just validation. Yeah. Yeah, 32 nanometer is completely beast. It's the real deal. 45 is good too. But I'm trying to think. I may even be sort of running into board limits more than anything else, because so what I remember from my last, so here we go. I have noted it down. So the newer gigabyte boards, I actually don't, 2.3. There's this whole story as well. I used to run a Corsair HX 1050 as my benching PSU, and what would happen is 2.1, 2.2 Vcore, even idling, it would OCP and just black screen. So I'm still hoping that at some point I find out how to get Corsair Link working, because you can't download that software from the Corsair website anymore. But what I'd like to do is hook up the PSU to my laptop while I'm benching and disable OCP, just in case that's an issue. But yeah, basically these chips will run, I would say in general, the chips will run as high a Vcore as you can throw at it full pot, but they won't necessarily scale. So sometimes you'll get your best validation at like 1.95 to 2.05 Vcore. Okay, so we just had a failed 1M, which is not a good look really. Let's go a little bit higher on the stakes. And actually I want to get the stick fan full speed as well. Is it going to spin up? Come on, this is connected. Where, in what universe is that? Okay, it's spinning up. Splash screen. So this is Shmomo. This is what you missed. This please someone clip it. This board has an amazing splash screen. 5800K. Died. That's a shame. I love 5800Ks. I have the 32M record on that. So without much ado, let's just run the 1M again. What a nice beer. Got a little bit more cooling on there, got a little bit more VDIM. Maybe that's all we need. So it was on loop 8, it failed. Okay, so that seems better now. Wow, it's slow though, isn't it? What the hell? So that was a 41-second run. Let's close. And the stilt, in case people are unfamiliar, the stilt made this bulldozer conditioner BDC utility that fixes some errata in the core specific to x87 basically. So Super Pi is an x87 bench. So I've now applied bulldozer conditioner. So let's check. So 41 seconds was the last run. Quite a light beer, this one. 1.1 standard drinks. I could still drive after this. What's the limit in my state? I don't even know. That's a worrying sign. How many standard drinks? One standard drink. Okay, so 1.1 standard drink. So I'd have to wait like 15 seconds. So there we go. 41 seconds down to 28 seconds. Needs to be reapplied after each boot. You shouldn't apply it while Super Pi is open. All right, so we're at least 1M stable at these RAM settings. Probably not 32M stable, but 1M, that's, you know, that's decent. Let's just see what the highest thing is we can sort of post. What a weird unit. You mean standard drinks? It's on every can in it's on every drink in Australia. 1.1 standard drinks. Or you mean the blood alcohol level? I think in Germany they call it promille, but here it's 0.02, which is like, I don't think that necessarily converts, because 2 promille is like a lot. So it's weird. We seem to have basically, between Germany and Australia, we seem to have 3 different ways of measuring blood alcohol, which, yeah, doesn't really make much sense to me. Okay, I'm happy to run my sticks at 1.9 with active cooling. Just curious to see how high they'll go in terms of raw frequency. I have to be careful with the cores now as well. Should maybe give them 1.5. Or maybe 1.45 or something. So post them quite high. Yes, the boot screen is just Should make a meme out of it. So, Fractured Life. What the hell is a standard drink? Oh yeah, for sure. There's I mean, there's 4.2% alcohol by volume, and there's 355 milliliters, so you can work that out. Okay, so 105 is no go. Let's do 104.5. 104.5. Actually, I should do 105 with a little bit more juice on the cores. Yeah, 1.28. That's way too low. Let's do 1.45 on the cores and try 105 again. Yeah, so the idea is, I mean, like 4% alcohol, you can compare it. You can be like, oh, 4% alcohol beer is quite a light beer compared to like a 6% or an 8%. So it was the cores. Interesting. But people like, I don't think people like humans are necessarily really good at knowing, you know, is this a big size can or a small size can? So the standard drinks takes that factor out of it, because 1.1 standard drinks is always 1.1 standard drinks, whether it comes in the form of a shot or 1 liter of beer. It's, you know, so in that sense, it makes it more comparable. Yeah, 4.2 makes sense. Come on, CPU-Z. Let's apply our conditioner again. Let's just try for a pass. So, hopefully not stating the obvious here, but the okay, that's expected, pretty much. The new North Bridge obviously factors in, so I'll get the max that I can pass in terms of BCLK, just sort of as a comparison point with the other chip, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that will be my final BCLK that I use, because once I start pushing, the hell? There's no fractional BCLK. Are they being serious? This is blowing my mind. Okay. Let's try a straight boot 5G just for the lulz. That's so dumb. I mean, I suppose it makes sense because, you know, what can I say? Yeah, I don't even want to single out Gigabyte, but CPU manufacturers like to save money on things like clock chains. So where's our clear CMOS button on this thing? Yeah, maybe you can just cut power, and then there's a BIOS switch button, but I don't think this has like the regular. Thanks, Shmomo, for the clip. Okay, so okay, 104 is what we're gonna go for. Maybe give it 4.5, and I think this is where it gets wonky. I think this is where you have to like multiply in the frequency yourself. But we're only multiplying by 1 point, like we're only increasing it by 4%, so it shouldn't be so bad. Let's try 2000. Let's see what happens there. Looks like it might post. The old clear CMOS hunt, indeed. I think I can just get a button for the header. Let's look up the manual. I'm curious. I like to know more about my boards. So we selected 2000 in bias. Now is going to be the interesting moment where we figure out what that actually means. Oh, maybe worth pointing out as well that this is obviously a APU, so it's good to turn off the iGPU because you're actually overclocking the iGPU with BCLK. So where's our manual? No, not English. I want traditional Japanese, of course. Okay, so that really does act as a multiplier, but we have to take into account the BCLK. So yeah, let's keep going. Gigabyte website is so slow. Hello, I've clicked something. Sending requests to facebook.com. No. Bclock. Yeah, BCLK, Bclock, whichever. Clear CMOS button. So it does specify that that's supposed to be a clear CMOS button. Not the jumper. See, in my mind, CMOS switch would mean, I don't know, maybe switching biases, but okay. Turn off your computer before cleaning. Yeah. Okay, so it's one of those where so on a Zeus you can pretty much clear whenever you want, but on Gigabyte you should cut power. So it sort of doesn't really do very much in the end, but okay, better than nothing. So Northbridge, let's go 200 at a time and see what happens. Oh, they got hacked. Was it ransomware again? that's the flavor of the month, isn't it? Ransomware. Lots of places getting ransomwared. Four Gathers, thanks for the follow. All right, we have booted up. Exciting stuff. Yeah. Oh, is the poll working? So I've decided to put up a poll for next stream. I gotta. Why is my clipboard not working? God damn it. Here we go. So I've got a few new components in. Ooh. So that seemed to be on the edge. That didn't like it. So there's a Team Cup stage that's HD 4000 3 Mark 06. That's why I threw that on there. There's also 940 Black Edition, DDR2, 32M stage, and then I got two new 5930Ks in. I think I'm voting 5930K. Black Edition can be the next stream after that, maybe. Yeah, one vote each. Well, there we go. So the only thing I'm a little... Why have we reverted to auto Vcore? That's clearly then an issue. Let's try that again. $112 GB. Well, that's not great, is it? Oh, it just sort of turned off. Interesting. Let's use that fancy little clear CMOS switch at the top there. Weekend of August the 2nd. Ransom will be raised. All these threats. Let's try that again. Only one attempt to upload a file. Come on, board. 15 is good, right? Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I'll put it on the Discord. Not really sure what's going on there. I'm sort of let's clear CMOS again. Maybe I'm trying to do too many things at the same time. Let's go 2100 Encore. Pretty sure the APU the APU voltage helps you push Encore as well. Okay, but let's do 2100. I don't see how that would be a problem. No, but it's looping again. Weird. Let's go one more BCL get K step down. Has it reset something obvious? I think 1.45 is fine. Let's go down. Yeah, let's try this way around. Okay, let's go back to 2000 at 104 B clock. Interesting placement as well, how they have the buttons on the top and then the code on the bottom. Doesn't really seem to be properly clearing. Well, the next option is always good old-fashioned 24-pin pull. Oh, thought something might be happening. Whoops. Not ideal that the 4-pin came out of that. You know, sometimes backwards compatibility just kills things. Like, who in their right mind is still using a 20 pin? That's when, like, when was the 24 pin introduced? Okay, so 2.0. Is there like a history section? Oh, there is kind of. Okay, so February 2003. Extended to, yeah, February 2003. And there's still idiots out there selling PSU daisy chaining adapters that can be adapted down to 20 pin. Like, I don't know, even if beyond all odds you're still running a system that actually contains components from before 2003, which I really doubt. Yeah, I just don't see it's like, I don't think it's really realistic for anyone to be running that. I don't know what you guys think, but that just seems weird. Okay, 2000. And let's see how we go. That's the last strap that actually posted for us. Okay, so 2000 posts. But I mean, I think people who are running retro machines are happy to buy a different freaking adapter. $104 at 2000. Let's go. Just because, let's go to our manual here. Oh, well, that doesn't give any explanation at all. Okay, let's try 1.4 Northbridge core and 2100 again. Well, it's not immediately looping. Interesting. Very interesting. that tempts me into more, but I should oh, that's right, to remove our USB. Just another excuse to see that post screen. Just make sure that we're still properly posting, or sorry, properly setting our North Bridge and stuff. Let's not forget to use our conditioner. All right, North Bridge is set, RAM is set. Core, we can maybe still do something with. Thought I was going to insta hang there. Let's just see if we can get a nice little run out. Not exact. Just make sure that maximum isn't affecting things. Have we dropped a channel? For some, no, gotta double check that. So the other day I slept through a fire 5 doors down at a supermarket. Kind of random, but yeah, apparently 50 firefighters were fighting the blaze from 5 a.m. and I just slept through it. Must have been a good night's sleep. Everyone's okay though. I think they sort of rescued 2 people from the apartment above, but no injuries. Let's give it a little bit more juice, as we like to say in the business. Take test it. Things are all right on so Sydney, Australia is heading into its 8th consecutive week of lockdown. Today there was another record number of cases, so things are not going well. Delta variant, of course, and yeah, doing okay otherwise though. This kind of situation, you can't really complain as long as you have a job and food and all that. Entertainment, been watching a lot of movies. Can't really go out, so why not, right? Drink and watch movies. It's sleep, eat. It's kind of all you can do. Cause of fire was some sort of trash compactor thing. All right, I don't really see this working out. Let's go down 1 multi. Yeah, overclocking. Finding a little bit hard to get motivated for that because I don't really have LN2 access at the moment. So usually I'm always sort of pre-testing and getting ready for a delivery, but when that's not possible due to the lockdown, then that sort of limits me. But I'm doing these streams every Friday night, so that's good. AMD IMCs are, so yeah, Ginger, so it was a small supermarket, and I guess to save space. You know how food usually in bulk lots sort of comes in big um, cardboard boxes. So they have a compactor at the back of the supermarket to squash the cardboard boxes into these sort of cubes to save space while they're waiting for the the truck to come by and pick it up. And it seems like that shorted or was left on overnight or something, and that caused the fire. Okay, let's go. Weird. This is weird. Maybe we're hitting the limits of what the Northbridge core, how it helps us. So let's go back down to where we got the later fail. But yeah, actually my my other big big pastime besides overclocking is right beside me here. I don't know how much of a crossover there is between people who watch overclocking streams and photography streams, but here we go. So it's analog photography. This is a Nikon FM2 35mm all mechanical camera. I should maybe take a picture, you know, like a really meta like picture of myself. There we go. So that's 35mm, and this is, I'm not going to take a picture on this, but this is a Bronica 645 ETRSI, I think it's called. So that's one of the, I really don't know if anyone in the chat is gonna like appreciate this. This is one of these modular cameras. Let's take it apart. I think it's kind of cool. Film back, the shutter assembly, lens, and how can I? Yeah, the that's the finder taken out. How does that's the ground glass. Take that out as well. Here you go. There's the mirror. Okay. So that's a medium format SLR. I have large format as well, but I'm not showing that today. Right. Okay. Now I'm curious to see whether the chat appreciated that or not. First photography gig. Do tell more. Tell me. I guess you shoot digital, right? What camera do you shoot? What is the, if you don't mind talking about it, what's the gig? Is it like event photography, commercial, or what? Because I like digital too. I use digital for the stream, you know. Now I just need to reassemble this goddamn thing. There we go. Okay, let's do some actual overclocking. Need to, for consistency's sake, always enable our bulldozer conditioner, so we're not relieving the pressure on the IMC due to the conditioner being off. Okay, so I think it likes 1.4. Yeah, the Sonys are nice. Ah, almost got there. Yeah, Sony is a good system. I mean, everything's good these days. You know, if you compare it, when I started shooting, I had a DSLR Nikon D50. It's like a 6 megapixel camera or something. I mean, now you can have an 80 or 100 megapixel camera if you really want it. Okay, let's try going down just one BCLK and see how that goes. So this is the hardware I use. So I find for just for streaming, Micro Four Thirds is really good. Really compact cameras, really cheap. Never overheat because of the smaller sensor. So I have a lot of G7s. Yeah. But yeah, Sony's good too. I like Panasonic though. I like the usability of Panasonic. I know they don't have the best low light performance and image quality and stuff, but they're just fun to use. Yeah, that's the only thing I'll say about Sony is the way. Oh, this is not with bulldozer conditioner off. Let's not do that. I went to a friend's house recently, and he had an A6000, and I found the menu system quite challenging to use. So I think in terms of usability, I mean, I came from Nikon, so Nikon and Panasonic are probably my favorite. Fuji is probably good too. I just haven't used it much. Okay, that's by far our best run. So maybe we were actually on the RAM limit. Now I'm curious to maybe at that 103 bus go back up to like 2100 Encore. Maybe. Let's see. What is it again? Windows print screen, isn't it? Oh, I just fucked it. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. So here's our first score of the night. 18,437. Yeah, let's see if we can go back up to the 2100 strap. Hey, Sharp boy, how you doing? You're telling who? Okay, so full disclosure, I've not physically met up with anyone from outside my household at all in 7+ weeks, except this one guy, and it's under the singles bubble rule. So it's totally legit, and it's within my 10-kilometer radius. So yes, you thought you caught me out, but you didn't. Fully vaccinated as well, anyway. I'm soon to be soonish to be fully vaccinated. I'm eligible to get my second shot in 3 weeks, but I'd like to maybe wait a little bit longer because on AstraZucchini, as they call it, the longer, if you wait for like 10 weeks or 12 weeks, it's better efficacy, as it's called. God, all these big words. Fuck yeah, dude. So you have a singles bubble rule as well. That's good. Yeah, it's quite challenging, or it's quite like suspenseful when you've placed that Uber Eats order, but the other side hasn't accepted yet. All right, so we've got a pass, and we've got a, I would say, significantly better run. So this is, let's get our CPU-Z open again. Literally all we've changed is just 100 extra Encore, and we've gotten 400 milliseconds out of it, so that's good. I don't think I need to save this. I think what I might actually do is go a little bit higher on the core. So that's one multi. That should be doable. Auntie Gladys. Yeah, 2 plus. The only slight issue I have with FM2 plus is the fact that it's so heavily code bugged. So it's not as fun on LN2. But yeah, FM2 plus is sort of almost the same as FM2, so it's a solid platform for sure. Are you talking Carrizo or Kaveri / Godavari? Okay, this I will save. $17. Okay. Where is our PS check? So for those who are not aware, like who are not from Australia, basically, there's this rule in Australia to promote during lockdowns, like an exception called the singles bubble. It's to like combat basically loneliness, mental health issues, that kind of thing. So somebody who lives on their own in a lockdown is allowed to have a single nominated guest. So not a different person every day, like per lockdown, like one nominated person come over to their house, because it's like a very reduced form of social interaction. Like it's just two people meeting up. It's always the same two people and they're always alone. Yeah, so I think it's a good role. I think it makes sense. I'm lucky enough not to live on my own, so like it's not really for my benefit as such. I mean, I don't mind it. It's it's good to see someone else, but it's mostly for the benefit of the person who lives on their own, because if you're in a harsh lockdown, you can imagine that can be taxing mentally. Preach. I wish I was alone. Spoken as a true our first run under 17 seconds. Spoken as a true family man. I wish I was alone. Okay, let me grab a quick screenshot just in case that's the highest we can go in terms of CPU multi. Just gotta make sure we keep saving our profile. Don't want to repeat ourselves. Fade. Somehow that didn't raise the multi. Weird. Oops. One E, one F. There we go. Approaching the magical 5G. That'd be nice if we could get a pass out at 5G. Yeah, it's FM2 is cheapest chips, isn't it? Yeah, so tech tested. That's a good point. What I do is um, actually that's a topic of conversation. So you need a good imaging software, so something like Norton Ghost, Acronis, or Macrium Reflect. But I use Macrium Reflect, but it's um, it's a shame because they're going pay to play now. It used to be free, so I use a USB to SATA adapter like this, and I have a number of benching drives. They're all like 40 gig, 60 gig, 80 gig, so really cheap, like $20 each, sort of thing. And I just keep restoring certain images um, using that adapter. Do I have access to? I have a NAS with all the stuff on there. It'd be fun to show you that, but I don't know. Oh. No, okay, I'm not logged in. Anyway, I have like a terabyte worth of. Oh, can I log in like this? So I've got a Synology NAS. Come on, log in, please. I guess I can look at it through FileStation. So it's like a four bay NAS, 12 terabytes of redundant storage, RAID 5, I think. And then I have my little overclocking folder here. So I have ISOs, but I also have images. Can I like see the size of this? Yeah, I have almost a terabyte of images here. So like different XPs, different Windows 7s. So mostly the idea is to optimize different OSs for different platforms, but it's also a convenience thing. Like right now I don't have any B clock control in OS because I don't have EasyTune installed. But if I find a method of installing EasyTune, instead of having to, sometimes you have to install like an old version of .NET to get EasyTune working. Sometimes you have to dig around the internet to find the binary for EasyTune. Once I have that working, I'll image that, and then next time I'll restore an image called, XP underscore gigabyte UP4 underscore EasyTune working or whatever. So it's a convenience thing as well as just like an efficiency thing. Okay, let us try to go one multi higher. Maybe this is a little bit cheeky. So this is the multi we used previously. Oof. Very, very close to the 5G there. Yeah, I also keep like even like older GPU drivers for older GPUs can be hard to find sometimes. So like I have like 54 gigabytes of GPU drivers randomly lying around. Okay, so this is significant because we're approaching the 5G. I feel like we could maybe even squeeze a little bit more out of it. I think when I was doing FM2 valids for a Team Cup 2 or 3 years ago on Chiller, I was able to go to like 5.4 valid. So like 5.1 1M doesn't sound crazy. Okay. Yeah, finding the information is a pain because there's a lot of people who are in the scene for a long time. That took me a long time as well. Like I did used to do this thing of reinstalling Windows a lot, but I really try to avoid it now. It's only when my I think the priority went on the wrong core there. I should just set it. Um, yeah, just ask like PM people and stuff. It is frustrating because there was a form migration for Hyperbot, and an Extreme Systems is the older forum that has some of the info on it. It's really frustrating. I find especially old binaries hard to find, like an old version of Afterburner, an old version of EasyTune, an old version of like Turbo V or whatever. It's just needlessly complicated, really, if you think about it. Because what's happened too is this whole deprecation of XP has happened as well. So finding XP utilities is even harder. It's just a never-ending topic, really. I mean, that's partially why I have a NAS, because anytime I find something that's somewhat hard to find, I just preserve it for myself forever, because I just don't want to go through that anymore. That's the frustrating part of overclocking, is the parts around the overclocking. It's almost like you wish you could just pay an assistant to do everything else, and then when you arrive you just press a button and then you clock, because the setting up, I mean, some of this stuff is fun too, but what can be frustrating is setting up the system, setting up the OS, finding the software, installing the software, re-imaging the system. Okay, I think at this point it would be appropriate to check what the top kind of ambient results are on here. Air, H2O. So 5.3 or so. Oh wow, I'm at 15.9 already. This guy runs a crazy chiller, so I'm gonna ignore that. 5.5 air? I don't know about that. Let's check it. At 1.6, yeah. Okay, it also seems a bit dodgy, but running Sammy's, yeah. 2.4 North Bridge, 5.5 Vcore. Okay, let's see if we can get our Encore up now that we're in a better place with our RAM. Yeah, well, so there's people have attempted that over the years, but like having some sort of central wiki would definitely help, but it's really wordy. Like the process that goes into overclocking is quite involved, so it would take a lot of time, and then stuff gets sort of outdated as well. Like classic case is there's like a really detailed guide on the Hyperbot forums by Extreme Addict on how to bench BDI on an Impact 8, and at the time it was the best board, but now it's like it's almost sort of like a joke, because I mean, who cares? The Apex 9 is better, and that generation is outdated anyway. I mean, I like old school overclocking, but if I went back to clocking a 6700K, I would never think of doing it on an Impact 8. Yeah, that's the other part, is want to keep their secrets and top positions. Yeah, I think for current generation that does happen. I think for older stuff, people forget as well. Like sometimes I'll find a score on HiRobot and I'll be like, how the hell did they do that? And I'll ping the person and the person will be like, oh yeah, that looks like a good score. I don't remember doing that score. So it's almost like I keep a lot of notes on this platform, which is Dropbox Paper. Like a lot, hundreds of notes, just almost like stream of consciousness sort of stuff, you know. So I would imagine that mostly when I'm going back to a platform I've benched before and I have gone to the trouble of taking notes, I can probably sort of relate to the notes and remember. But even that is difficult, never mind somebody else reading my notes, and then that's only one person, you know. What if 100 people are trying to read my notes, or vice versa? That's even more difficult because it's hard to interpret those. Okay, so we've got our extra encore. I'm just going to do a quick run. What I really want is core and encore combined, and for that we'll need a little bit more Vcore. Paper and pen. It's so funny. I still know some people at my work and stuff that use paper and pen, and it's sort of cute, nostalgic, but yeah, for me it's got to be you know, searchable in a searchable form with a search bar. I mean, part of the I'll be honest about it. You know, part of the reason I stream, I mean, a smaller part, not the most important part, but part of the reason I stream is that is the ultimate note taking, right? If I really want to bench something, I've never really done this, but I would imagine if I really wanted to bench a platform really hard and know everything about it, the first thing I'd do is go into my list of old streams and watch the YouTube video of me benching it to remind myself of what I know and what I don't know. It gets even harder once you go back to like really old platforms like Socket 939, Socket 754. Like there's maybe a few guys around that know how to do it, but there's sometimes even a language barrier, which is unfortunate. Like some of the, I don't know, I don't want to like single anyone out in case this is like interpreted as being like a negative or something, but there's some people in the benching scene from, you know, like, I don't know, Europe, wherever, Asia, that have a lot of knowledge but sometimes struggle a bit getting it across in English, which is fair enough. It's not their native tongue, you know. Okay, so we're that step down to 103 BCLK I think really paid off because we're really seeing the encore go up. I bought a ton of cards from what's his name, Romanian bencher who was famous for chillers and stuff. God, what's his name? Excuse me. He would be in Apprentice. Yeah, Poppa. Yeah, I bought a ton of cards from Poppa. And oof, what happened there? It's a pass. And even just the transaction, you know, do you want PayPal or not? How are you going to package the cards? How are you going to declare the cards? How much is shipping going to cost? Even just that basic interaction, it seemed like was quite difficult with him because of his level of English was low. You know, so I can imagine a ton of, and he's a really experienced bencher. So I would imagine that there's a ton of benchers out there that even if you told them, you know, pay you $10 an hour to write a wiki in English. That might be difficult. After for DDR4, yeah, DDR4 is tough. Accounting software from the 90s, yeah, that rings a bell. My employer has a ticketing software, you know, like issue tracking software that is literally from 1999. I mean, it gets updated a lot, but the sort of basic GUI of it looks every bit the 1999 piece of software that it is. Should be good to go. So in these ambient runs, I'm seeing 2.4. What's like a 5G run, something like this maybe. Slow. What causes these slow runs? I don't really get it. Like horrendously slow. G60 Ti. And now everything's fine. Weird. Should really be showing the run. 15797. Okay, that's the new best. I'll capture it just because of the Uncore achieved more than anything. Yeah, the scaling obviously drops off when you're on stock Uncore. You know, every 100 megahertz of Uncore is just godsend. But all right, back into PS check. Whoops. What happened there? All right, let's just go on an extra 100. And like GPUs is even more difficult. You know, I think pretty much, maybe not DDR and DDR2, but like DDR3 and DDR4, when things really get serious, when push comes to shove, I think you can kind of learn it from scratch to a good level almost without any help. But once you get to like AGP GPUs with no voltage control and memory timing tweaks and different IC vendors running differently and all this nonsense, like it starts to get just, you can't, it's like you can't reverse engineer it. You know, you could spend 1,000 hours on the platform and still not really understand what's going on without some outside help. Yeah, I've got I can't really show it, but Halea 500A, I think it's called. Yeah, that's the one. Ugh, come on. So I've got two of these. So I've got 1,000 watts in total. It's better than having, from what I've heard from other people, it's better having two 500 watts than one 1,000 watt, because the 1,000 watt is quite loud and can be slow to sort of spin up. Whereas right now, when I'm just on the CPU, I just run one 500 watt chiller, and then if I'm running GPU and CPU, I'll run two. So it gives me sort of flexibility. So here we are, 2.6 on core. Yeah, it's not cheap, but I mean, I find it really good because obviously it's over time it's cheaper than LN2, you know, because that's a consumable. 15.7. Okay, that didn't really improve very much. Well, let's see if we can beat another multiplayer out of this chip. $5.15. Let's do it. Interesting. All right. Let's give it 1.5. And also a little bit more on core. Dry ice, yeah, depending on where you're based, dry ice can be really cheap. In Australia, it actually, they're very, very limited dry ice manufacturing capabilities. So it's very expensive. It's like 15 or 20, maybe now with the pandemic, even more than 20, because they use dry ice for vaccine storage, which increased the demand. Probably like $20 a kilo. Whereas I know in like Europe, you can just buy it in a supermarket somewhere, and that's much more. Yeah, it's cheaper, like €5 a kilo or something, or even less. All right, let's do this. Not 2M. I've heard of people. Okay, we're reaching the limits of encore scaling anyway, so let's go down and go more with the core scaling. I've heard of people in Germany, maybe I'm misremembering this, but people buying it like Real supermarkets, like, you know, the big ass supermarkets. I thought some of them have dry ice, but who knows? Yeah, I get what you mean. I don't think the supermarket around the corner has dry ice in Germany, but more the like really, really big ones. $10 a kilo. Is there is there manufacturing in Taz? That's really surprising to me, because the last time I got a quote on dry ice here was 15 in Sydney, and Sydney has its own manufacturing, so I would have thought it would be one of the cheaper places in Australia. Let's actually try one multi-hire. Air Liquide. Yeah, they exist in not exact. The fuck? Let's try let's literally just try again. They exist in Sydney as well. They must be having difficulties getting rid of the dry ice or something. I have tried the AIO in ice water method. Okay, so that's, don't want to say it's a cracking run, but it's certainly faster than what I've done before. So let's just go back here. So a 15.453. Would like to beat Emissary. I mean, I'm not a million miles away from the best ambient run, but still a lot of work. Yeah, the ice water thing, you have to be sort of careful with it because it actually doesn't, unless you need to be able to actually circulate the ice water around, which is not that, or the coldness, the chill from the ice water around. Usually there, you don't sort of, the limiting factor is the transference of heat or lack of heat, if that makes any sense. Your ice can be as cold as it wants to be. If your pump can't and your water can't really transfer it, then it doesn't really matter. Well, we've already done that, so let's do this. Ooh, 5.26. Not sure about this. What's my chiller set to? I'll just, oh, it's only 17 degrees. So we're set to 18. Okay, so that knocked another 2. For a second I thought I was slower, but that did knock about 200 milliseconds off. 15.2, so we're talking, yeah, the fastest run that isn't in the 14s. This is fun. So 200 milliseconds for 100 core. That's interesting. Yeah, sometimes PS check bugs out. Okay, what we'll try now is to maybe tighten the RAM, because obviously 8.12.8 is ridiculously loose. So certainly save this profile. So if you're not aware, on the older Gigabyte boards, when you go advanced manual, that unlocks separate timings for both channels. But if you just go regular manual, then the very sensible approach of having channel B follow channel A is taken. So let's do, I mean, Let's try that. I don't find usually. I don't know how you guys find it, but I don't usually find that 1M really scales all that well with memory timings. I think it's more core on core memory megahertz. Before I had access to Dyson LM2, I used to hook the bench up to the kitchen tap. Yeah, there's some Russians do that. 1.5 on GPU. Nice. Okay, let's not forget our conditioner. So there's your single channel. Shit. So that dropped us down to single. Let's do a reboot. I wonder how we can detect single channel in BIOS. Will it show up with the RAM capacity or not? So if I go into system information, so that's showing 4 gigs. Maybe it was just a random bad boot. Ancient stuff is still expensive in America because of the mining related price increases, or something more permanent than that? Okay, so we have dual back now. Weird. Let's go. Let's just go all out for a second here and kill all the background stuff and I haven't really been watching the loops. It'd be nice to know whether it's a fast run or not. $180 Matrix 5870. Oof, I'm not sure I would pay that much for a 5870 these days. 15.4. Why so slow? Did I apply the wrong CPU multi? No, that is correct. Let's just rerun. Hmm. Let's just randomly try without task kills and stuff. Three Hawaii GPUs. Is it mixed 290s and 290Xs or all one type? Interesting. Oh, that's a real mix. Okay, let's just keep the middle timing where it was. On AIM 3 Plus, it likes 7.12.7, so 390X. Don't get in, I just can't get enough of that boot post screen. Let's not forget the conditioner. So about a 4-second loop 5. Let's keep that in mind. 8-second loop 10. Slow somehow. Let's do a second run. 3-way. No, it was this ranking. So the second run is almost always faster. So is this. I got a 4th place, which is solid. I was using 295X2, so that holds the clocks back a little bit. Where did those 200 milliseconds go, I wonder? .25, let's do it. Let's kill everything. .9 loop 5 seems slow. Maybe I'll catch up on the back end. 7.7 is good. Still not amazing, but I mean, we have faster cores, so it's not really surprising, is it? Damn it, what was it? I covered it up. 15.140. No difference basically in superposition. I mean, never say never, but I haven't seen it make a difference. Even system RAM is on the edge to not making any difference whatsoever. $5.36. We're reaching some stratospheric heights here. Still no dew on the fittings on the block, water block. That's good. 7.6. Let's do it. Let's break the 15 seconds. Yes. Okay, so where's our little ranking here? Damn it. Here we go. So 14.875, 14.875. Beat this guy on 5.5. Here's someone not running bulldozer conditioner. Do you see that? So yeah, 7.4 gigahertz person in here. So yeah, this is the top. Well, don't know what's going on with this guy. That's probably a chiller. So it's the top. Well, I'm on a chiller too. So sort of like the second ambient result, let's say. 1.66 volts. Okay. Without absolutely freaking killing my chip. So excluding the pretty much suicide runs some of these people are running. This is the top ambient result. So that's good. I mean, I'm obviously not going to stop until the chip stops. So the actual CPU that you are using makes a difference, but not the clocks of the CPU so much, if you get me. So Intel will probably score, because it has better latency, Intel will score better, whether it's X299 or Z590 or whatever. Intel will score better than AMD usually, but you will probably not see a difference between 5.2 gigahertz on an 11900K and 5.4, let's say. I mean, this is starting to get ridiculous. Let's delete some of this stuff. Yeah, I don't want the 16-second run. So 5.36 was what we were running. So it was this multi. And let's try the next. Okay. That's a hang, but I'm willing to give it 50 more millivolts. Why is it okay to run really high voltage on LN2 but not on a chiller? On CPU? On Vcore, you mean? So in general, the colder something gets, the more able it is to take current. Like current is what kills chips, integrated circuits, right? So you can set, I mean, this analogy, like this sort of comparison or whatever, only holds true to a certain degree. But basically, you could set 3 Vcore on a CPU. If you could somehow idle it so low that it's not drawing any current, it would stay alive. But the opposite would be, let's say you're looping IDA or memtest or something, maybe, I mean, I don't know, I've never done this, I'm just theorizing, maybe if your water loop is at 70 degrees, or like the core temperature is at like 70, 80, 90 degrees, and we were running 1.55 Vcore, that might be enough to kill the chip. Whereas 3 volts on LN2 idling might be fine. I don't know. This is all like exaggeration, but just to say that you have sort of like a triangle going on: temperature, current. No, it's not really a triangle. It's like a, yeah, it's just temperature and current, really. The lower the temperature, the higher current a CPU is able to withstand without dying. But frequency scaling is separate to that. So sometimes you have a chip that will clock better all the way. Let's say you're at full pot, just to make it easy. So you're the lowest temperature possible without getting liquid helium. At full pot, let's say you're running SuperPi 1M, you might find that your chip will finish 1M at, let's say, 2 volts at 7 gigahertz and 2.05 volts at 7.1 gigahertz, and 2.1 volts might let you pass 7.2 gigahertz, but then 2.15 volts, the chip is dead, but it was still scaling. And then there are other architectures, for example, AM3 is a good example. So that I was more talking about Intel there. AM3 is a good example where I can set 2.2 volts on a 965 Black Edition, but it's not going to clock as well as it will at 1.9 volts, for example, but it doesn't hurt the architecture. So it's sort of, it's very architecture dependent as well. But for a given for a given chip, let's say, it's going to be able to withstand higher volts, by which I mean current, because you want to do something, right? You're not just going to idle the chip. So, and you don't set current in BIOS. So even though it is current that kills chips, at the end of the day, what you're setting is volts. And for a given workload, more volts means more current. So it's sort of like a very equivalent relationship there. For a given current level or voltage level, a chip is less likely to die the lower the temperature is. But let's say, like, I routinely idle like 1.9 volts at like minus 50 when I'm messing around with the platform, but that's idling. I wouldn't run a benchmark at that, you know. You need to clip that. Maybe, yes. Okay, let's see. So we've given it 50 millivolts more. Megavolts. Certainly not megavolts. I think this is the end of the road, but we'll just try it. Okay, so that did help us, at least for setting. Now let's come to the running part. All right, 2 minutes and 6. If no one's clipped it, I'll take a note here. 2 minutes and 2 hours and 6 minutes. Yeah, so that's so Billzard has mentioned that on his previous streams. Ooh, what a terrible run! I think we're missing bulldozer conditioner. So yes, so need to relaunch and re-kill and re-affinity. So yeah, I mean, ugh, I don't buy that. We just pass without BDC. I think it's just sort of randomness here. So yeah, I think the takeaway is current kills chips. And as to the actual sort of like physics involved that makes, oh yeah, that's a nice run. That makes electronics not die because it's colder. I mean, I know it runs faster, so the equivalent of it, damn it. Let's give it like maybe one degree less on the chiller. The other comparison I'd like to draw is, you know, let's say you keep everything equal. You know, let's say you have the voltage constant and you're trying to clock up as much as possible for a given voltage. Most architectures, what will happen is you'll be able to clock up higher at a lower temperature. I think Rise and like even Steve from Gamers Nexus did a video where all he did was just like, okay, so we can do whatever it is, 4 gigahertz at ambient, 4.2 at 0, at 4.4 at minus 20, you know, showing the frequency scaling. I mean, I did computer engineering in college, but I sort of forgot all that aspect of chip design and all that. But okay, I think we actually need 2 multis higher here. Three multis even. So I think we had a 14. God, what was it? This run looks slow. 7.5 through loop 10 seems slow. God damn it. Also sort of curious to try the other 6-7. Yeah, thanks. That's what we want. So what's this? We're way far away from this other guy, but it would be cool. You know what would be cool is would be just to sort of slip in here, just below the other this crazy 1.6 Vcore ambient score here. So to get right here, so 656, but we've got a 672, so we can't really complain too much about that. If we can actually screenshot this time. So there's our 14672. Can we get a valid out of it? That would be interesting. Is it F7 or F9? Maybe it's F7. Okay, F7. Excellent. Just for giggles, let's try the next multi. That's decent. 5.6 on ambient. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how much timings are going to help. Let's do some suicide runs. I don't know if low line really is all that relevant for valids. Okay, that's down course. So what tends to happen on FM2 is you can't disable modules. You can only disable the second core in each module. So that's what I've done now. So it's now down core to 2 cores, but I can clock them individually. So it's the first core of each module. So now what I'm going to do is see on core 2 of module 1, which essentially ends up being core 1. Now I'm getting confused. So let's call them core 0 and core 1 of each module. I just validated this 5.6 on core 1 of module 1. I should be calling it 0. Okay, let's stick with 0 and 1s. Core 1 of module 0 has validated 5570 at 1.55 Vcore. Now we're down to only 2 cores. So basically I'm going to check the other module since I've already checked module 0. Got a switch here. Switch together. So all I can do is disable the second module. That's fine. We can still mess around with that a bit. Okay, never mind. I thought it worked the other way around. So let's re-enable the second module and downclock the first module and check the second module to see if it has the same limits. Isle of Man. Isle of Man as in the motorbike race? Or just the place, like a tourism sort of documentary? Yeah, I know a few people who've been there. It's crazy shit. Definitely ease of use. when you're in 2D clocks mode with the GPU like this, the external power, it doesn't really end up drawing anything. But yeah, it's ease of use because I use modular power supplies and I use multiple power supplies a lot. So having that extra cable around is annoying. All right, now we're gonna reload our little thing here. Idle the first cores at 3.9. Go to the second lot of cores, 5.4, okay. Okay, so worse. Okay. I think that's a decent chip. I wonder... I'm tempted to mess around with the timings a little bit, but I probably shouldn't. Let's just have a look what this guy's doing. Terrible. One thing that's worth trying is maybe just take the Encore off. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the end of the stream if we can't get the 1M up. Or should I just do a few loops of 32M? I'm tempted to see where we'd be at. It's not even posting, is it? Yeah, my efficiency is probably garbage, but I'll have to drop. I'll load my profile, and I'll see. I'll go back to 812.8. So to give you an idea, on AMD DDR3 platforms, the sort of drop you should see is, so we're 2500 here. I need to drop at least 200 on the North Bridge, and then I would go back to 812.8, and of course I will have to drop the I'll have to drop the CPU core as well. That's funny. I grew up in Ireland, and Isle of Man is just next door, and I never had an inkling to go to Isle of Man, and you're like ready to go around the world for it. But people, I mean, that's obvious, you know, people have different priorities. Why is this such a challenge to train up? I don't get it. I just dropped settings and it's struggling to do stuff. Let's lower the Vcore. Let's use our famous CMOS clear switch again. We got our little splash screen again. But now it's struggling to go into, here we go. So this is what didn't post. I think we go back to 1.45. Maybe drop another 100 off. Well, there's all kinds of factors. So you got to remember, Northern Ireland is a different country. You know, it's it sometimes all gets thrown in together. You know, people think Ireland is part of the UK, and even the people who know that the UK is different to Ireland then think Northern Ireland is part of Ireland rather than the UK. It's I mean, to be completely honest about it, it's actually um, in reality, in practical terms, it's three different countries. There's the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and the UK. And I know that Northern Ireland is part of the UK, but just in terms of the way people feel, the way people are treated, the way people act in practical terms, it's very separate to the rest of the UK. I mean, I would argue, even people in Scotland feel more a part of the UK than Northern Ireland does in a lot of ways. And yes, recent developments have not helped that either. Okay, so we've dropped a ton of stuff down here. Let's do a 5G run, or attempt one. So our first module was better. No, I don't want CPU core to be the factor that kills us. Okay, I think these are fair settings. It's probably still not going to run, but it'll give us a hope of completing at least. I'll start a stopwatch just in case we get a hang, so we don't have to guess whether it's still running or not. Not exact. Yeah. But I mean, the same thing happens here, right? Like I moved to Australia 6 years ago, and there's tons of people in Sydney who've never been to Tasmania, and Tasmania is like a place people go to from all over the world because it's amazing. Actually, let's just drop down to 100 BCLK. You know, you can apply the same logic to almost everywhere. Like, there are people in the US who don't think Hawaii is part of the US and have never been to Hawaii, and Hawaii is amazing. I've been to Hawaii. You know, I wish I've only been once, but I really want to go back. But there's people who are like really, really close to Hawaii who've never been there. But I mean, there's lots of different factors going on there. So people tend to not want to move, travel, be tourists in their own country. They want to be tourists in another country. So it's the same for me. I mean, I'm originally from Germany, and I've never been to Hamburg, for example. And people are like, "Oh my God, Hamburg's so amazing. How come you've never been to Hamburg?" But it's just there's a tendency out there, rightly or wrongly, not to want to be a tourist in your own country. But then the other factor is, like, Isle of Man, it's just a tiny little. There's not much going on. I mean, I've not been there, but from what I gather, there's not much going on there. I wouldn't, like, if I were to go back to Ireland to be a tourist, I don't think it would be in my top 5 places to even go, you know? So, okay, let's apply some stuff. I want to become famous? No, I don't. Thank you very much for the offer. So we have a first initial loop there. Yeah. So okay. I mean, there's tons of people who live on the border in Texas who've never been to Mexico, and there's tons of people in Detroit who've never been to Canada. I didn't start my little timer, but hopefully it's going to be okay. Is anyone close to Hawaii? But in relative terms, I mean, like when I went to Hawaii, went from Germany, and it was like 20 hours of flying with maybe even an overnight in LA. And there's people who live in LA who have daily flights, like 6 hour flights to Hawaii. I think that's, I mean, that's the height of convenience compared to what I did. Yeah, so with the bot issue, it seems to be something that Twitch really isn't really putting anything. Like, I guess um, you could have like a bot, a moderation bot that looks out for spam bots. I haven't looked into that, but I was checking the Twitch subreddit today, and there was a post on there complaining about how Twitch itself is not doing much for bots. So yeah. Yeah, I've been more to Canada than other places. All right, so where is our low clock challenge? So this is all. Let's see if we're somewhere close to top dog. I mean, loop 3, 1 minute 56, 1 minute 51. Yeah, so we're gonna be over like 15 minutes, but that's fine. I don't know what minor voltages come into play for 32M. Yeah, look, okay, so this this can become a controversial topic very quickly, but I don't I it's let me talk about this in a very non-judgmental way, because I really don't think there is any reason to be judgmental about this. Um, Americans tend to have passports, like a smaller percentage of Americans have passports than Europeans, for example, or Australians, and a smaller percentage of people from the US, Americans, have left the US. But that, I mean, there's all kinds of factors at play there. There's, Americans on average work longer, have less paid leave. The country itself is bigger. It has more to offer, I think, touristically. So there's less of a reason to leave. That's not. I mean, that's just result of the circumstances. I really don't blame him. If I was from America, I'd be tempted to never leave. I mean, you've got Hawaii, you've like that tropical sort of like island sort of feel. You've got Alaska, you've got California is beautiful, the redwoods and all that stuff. Like, in terms of natural beauty, name me a country in the world that is as varied as the US is. So there's not as much of a reason to leave, in my opinion. I listened to this podcast the other day. It was this crazy kind of like statistics saying that on average, if you average out like a weekly, you call a week of work 40 hours, let's say, in both countries. If you compare Germany to the US, Germans work 10 weeks less per year than Americans. So of course they're going to leave the country. What else? I mean, when I lived in Germany, I had 6 weeks of paid vacation, plus there were 13 public holidays a year, I think, and some would fall on a Saturday or Sunday, so it would depend on the year. But let's say 3 fall on a weekend. If you have another 5 public holidays, that means you have 7 weeks off a year, just like that. And the average American does not have 7 weeks off a year, not even close. There are people who don't. Oops, something happened there. don't know what that was. I don't know, man. I've come across Americans who don't take a holiday. Like, there's a big difference between like the working class and the middle class as well. Like, there's Americans who don't take a holiday in 10 years, and that's something that doesn't really exist in Germany to that degree, I don't think. Let's I don't really know what happened there. I don't think we need 1.5. Let's try this just to get a run out. No, I mean, yeah, the US does have workers' rights issues. I think, like, I love it as a place to visit. I think I've been there 11 times on holidays, but to live, it's tough imagining turning old in America, because I don't really know what retirement looks like there, because the social safety net is so like non-existent. Like, yeah, like um when I originally moved to Australia, the other option was to go to Miami or Sydney, and I picked like Sydney pretty much purely on the basis that I didn't want to be employed in a hire and fire sort of culture. Even though Australia is still a step down in that regard compared to Germany or Ireland. Yeah, I think the pandemic might help in that regard as well. I feel like people have taken stock. You know, people have um, had reason to reflect and stuff, and it's not. I mean, it's not a God-given thing, you know. Like, it used to be different. Why can't it change back again? Okay, this is really the last run I'm doing, guys. I'm enjoying the discussion for sure. I'll start my clock. Well, way early on, we were talking about Hawaii, the GPU architecture, actually. But I was using Hawaii as a comparison to Isle of Man. So somebody mentioned in the chat that they really wanted to go to Isle of Man, and I was like, oh, I'm from Ireland. I've never been to Isle of Man. So funny to think of somebody wanting to go halfway around the world to go to the Isle of Man. And I just sort of made a comparison. It's not really a very good comparison, because a flight from Dublin to the Isle of Man is like half an hour, whereas a flight from LA to Hawaii is 6 hours. But I was making the point that even people who live in LA and who can probably fly to Hawaii for like $200 don't do it. Whereas I spent like €1,000 to fly to Hawaii, and it took 20 hours to get there. 12-hour days. Yeah, it's weird. There was Okay. I'm gonna link a podcast here. I'm sure people know Freakonomics Radio. It's a pretty well-known podcast. Uh, it's called "The Pros and Cons of America's Extreme Individualism," and one of the things that they point out there is that I don't know. Long story short, some economist ran like a 60-year survey that's still going on, asking people all kinds of questions about their lives in different cultures. And it turned out that when you ask an American about pride, they usually associate it with their work. And if you ask a Swede, for example, or a Chinese person about pride, they will say they're proud of their family, or they're proud of their heritage, or something not related to work. Whereas if you don't provide any context and you just say, "Hi, John, what are you proud of?" They'll be like, "Oh, I'm proud of that spread." I'm giving a stupid example, but I'm proud of that spreadsheet I filled in really quickly a couple of days ago. Whereas someone in China will say, "I'm proud of my son and daughter," or whatever. So that's part of it as well. Is like in American culture somehow work has a higher standing in society. Like the value of work is higher in society somehow. I don't know where it comes from. It's just different cultures are different. Yeah, then there's a tipping culture. Don't get me started on that as either. It's just so bizarre to me. Oh, let's pay waitresses $2.50 an hour and rely on them getting tips and stuff, and it's just so crazy. Um, that definitely has to end. There's no like pro and con for that kind of thing. I think that, I mean, the con is it's change, like any change is disruptive and could have unintended side effects. But I think that goes without saying. Like if you strip that away and just look at it purely, logically, yes, you should pay a living wage, obviously. 2 cents an hour, yeah. All right, let's see if we can get a run out here, and then that'll be the end of the stream. But it's been really fun, especially discussion. Just been going nearly 3 hours. I want to grab a beer, maybe chill out. Stop talking. I'm going hoarse. Loop 6, 3 minutes 41. Is that good or bad? I'm not so sure. If you compare that to our baseline here again, loop 7, 4 minutes 17. 4 seconds behind a loop 7. That's not terrible. I mean, drinks at home. Yes, but where the whole tipping culture breaks down is this whole arbitrary distinction between what is a service job and what isn't. Like you don't tip the guy who does your McDonald's, but you do tip the guy who like shows you to your taxi. That weird. Okay, we got to crash. I don't know. I understand. Yeah, but in a lot of places, performance based wages are actually banned. Like in Germany, for example, that's a lot more controversial. All right, so we found a good chip. It's got a good module on it. Still need to compare to this. I feel like maybe they're very, very similar, or maybe the chip that's in the system is better. I'll have to confirm that. Certainly the second module on the chip in the system was worse. It's a bit tricky to compare because this is delidded, so if this does better, I might suspect that it's just the delid job. But yeah, it's been a really fun stream, fun discussion. Thanks all for watching. And I'll be, I should look at my poll. Let's do that before we leave. Maybe nobody voted. Sometimes copy paste between my streaming system and my viewing system is a bit hazy. Oh, 5930K is winning. All right, cool. That's kind of what I wanted to win, so Micro Center. No votes for HT4000. Yeah, but I don't think sales staff should get a commission either. Like sales is like it's like a luck of the draw whether you sell something or not. It's all down to the consumer, in my opinion. Maybe that's a controversial statement. Option 1 for the win. Yes, in Fatboy's old board, actually, X99 champion. So that's next week's stream is 5930K on X99, which is a really fun quad channel platform. I'm looking forward to it. Signing off now. Thanks for watching. Bye.